My grandfather's secret diary revealed he spared an enemy soldier during today. Now we are engaged, and neither of our families can believe the connection. I never knew my grandfather well. He died when I was 7, leaving behind the reputation of a decorated but silent war hero who never discussed his time in Normandy. The only thing I inherited was his watch and a small leather journal my mother gave me on my 30th birthday, saying he wanted you to have this when you were old enough to understand. The journal sat in my drawer for months before I finally opened it. Implied among battlefield accounts and letters to my grandmother was an entry from the 7th of June, 1944, printed the day after D-Day, protein that changed everything I thought I knew about him. Today I couldn't kill a man who showed me a photo of his daughter. God forgive me if my mercy costs other American lives, but I saw my own child in his eyes. The entry described how my grandfather separated from his unit, encountered a young German soldier hiding in a farmhouse. The German, barely 20, didn't reach for his weapon. Instead, he slowly pulled out his wallet and showed my grandfather a photo of a little girl with braids. My grandfather wrote, he said only one word I understood, mine, mine. I lowered my rifle and pointed to the woods. He nodded, understanding. We were no longer soldiers for that moment, just fathers. I was stunned. My grandfather had always been portrayed as the perfect soldier. This act of mercy contradicted everything I'd heard about him from family stories. Fast forward to last year, I was working on my laptop at a coffee shop in Boston when a woman accidentally spilled her drink on my table. As she apologized and helped clean up, she noticed the old watch I was wearing pert my grandfather's. That's a German-made Hanhart, she said. My grandfather had one exactly like it. He was a soldier. Something made me ask. German soldier, yes, she replied. He fought in Normandy. The coincidence seemed interesting, but nothing more. We introduced ourselves. Parrot, her name was Elise Parrot, and ended up talking for hours about our families, our work, our lives. We exchanged numbers, began dating, and quickly fell in love. 3 months into our relationship, I showed her my grandfather's journal. When she read the 7th of June entry, her face went pale. She rushed to her apartment and returned with a small wooden box containing her grandfather's wartime possessions. Inside was a faded photograph of her aunt as a child, paint with braids paint, and a diary written in German. She translated one entry that made my hand shake. The 7th of June, 1944. An American soldier found me today. I was certain I would die. I showed him Annalise's photo, praying he might have a child too. He looked at her for a long time, then pointed to the woods. I owe my life to this enemy who chose to see me as a father instead of a target. We sat in silence, trying to process the impossible connection. The granddaughter of the German soldier my grandfather had spared was sitting beside me, holding my hand when we told our families. My uncle insisted it was too convenient to be true. Elise's family was equally skeptical until we showed them both diaries and the matching dates and details. Last month I proposed to Elise at Normandy Beach with both our grandfather's diaries in my pocket. As she said yes, an elderly French couple nearby applauded. The woman approached us afterward and said something that still gives me chills. This is how wars truly end, not with treaties, but with the grandchildren of enemies falling in love. Our wedding is set for the 7th of June next year, pair exactly 80 years after our grandfather's encounter. Reframing both diary entries side by side to display at the reception. Sometimes I wonder about that moment in the farmhouse pair and how close my existence came to never happening. One different choice, one pulled trigger, and neither Elise nor I would be here. Our grandmothers, both still living, will sit together at the ceremony. Elise's grandmother told us your grandfathers would say this isn't coincidence. This is how the universe balances itself. Maybe she's right. Maybe mercy creates ripples across generations that eventually return as love.